How many handicapping groups can say they're around before Twitter, MySpace, AOL, Sunday morning cable infomercials, beepers, and 1-800 numbers? Founded in 1957, the GoldSheet is the country's longest-running sports betting newsletter and has served bettors for over 6 decades. So between 1957 and now, if you have not checked out the GoldSheet, here's your chance for only $1 per day. Head to goldsheet.com and just go to buy now or click the special box on the main page to get both the NBA Gold Sheet and college basketball Gold Sheet newsletter for only $7. For just $1 per day, you will receive projected scores, spread and totals, power ratings and strength of schedule, teams straight up, against the spread, and over-under records and their season average line for both sides and total. Plus, tons more handicapper information to help you bet with confidence, and of course, tons of picks. This offer is for a limited time only, so act fast and head to goldsheet.com and try it out for 7 days for only $7. You'll be glad you did.
Hey guys, welcome in on a very happy, Thursday now, November the 17th, and it's a light card in the association tonight. 3 games, and 3 of the late starts on the East Coast here, 10 o'clock Eastern time tips, and we're going to break down all 3 for you, and we're going to do it, of course, a lot of 3s here tonight with 3 of the best, certainly 3 of the most profitable, including Andy Lang of WagerTalk.com. The prop god is here. You've got Tony Finn of WagerTalk.com ready to roll. And our good friend, the UCapper, Ronald Kabang, SportsMemo.com, as he continues to cash tickets over there at Memo there. And what is going on, Ronald? Nice roll here, man. Continuing to profit in the association. You got anything tonight locked and loaded for the clients?
Yeah, I got two bets. I just posted it right before the show here. Man, it's been a rocky start to the NBA. I feel like it was just last month where I went on a 21-7 run. Now I've lost actually the last couple of days here. Hopefully get back on track. Just kind of going through the motions here, and it's nothing new. We go through these streaks every season, but we always end up on top. So hopefully we just keep going.
It is a marathon, not a sprint. We all know this here. And boy, oh boy, Andy, we talked about it last time, right? Isn't it so much fun when the injury report all of a sudden stubbing of toe, I think, was one of the things we saw. Slipped. He's got gas. I mean, they're coming up with all sorts of things here. But what do you got rolling for us here tonight over at WagerTalk.com?
Well, stop the presses. Kawhi has been upgraded to questionable.
No.
I mean, yeah. I feel like he should never be questionable. There's really never a question.
That's a good point.
Because the answer is always no. When
not going to happen.
That is the story of Kawhi Leonard last week. Upgraded to questionable. We got two. We got two really good props up at WagerTalk.com. We also have a 4% NFL play, and honestly, our best bets in NFL have been what we've been running the hottest in right now. So if I'm recommending anything for me, honestly, it's the Thursday night football bet. It's interesting, Ronald. You said the same thing. You got off to a great start and then regression. Exact same thing with me. Started off just white hot with props, and then I too have lost the last couple nights. So a little bit of regression coming as the books adjust to the numbers and everything. So just missed out on a couple plays last night, but got 2 good ones up. Hopefully we get it all turned around and headed right back where myself and Ronald were at the beginning of the season. So looking forward to it. Very, very strange these late. Can you remember the last time 3 games all late?
No. Oh,
I've never seen this.
Only 3 games on the schedule. They're either all over by 10 o'clock, or there's 1 and 1, but not where we've had all 3 games on the late slate. And that could work out to be pretty darn profitable for us, depending on how you guys do. Maybe college basketball, NHL. You got, of course, Thursday night football. And then you got 3 NBA games, Tony Finn. I know you got to have something ready to roll here tonight.
I will have some. I do have something ready, but I was before I packaged everything. I like to advertise my discount, on the show here. So
yes.
So you can get everything Tony Finn for whatever the website price is. I'll discount it with the winners.
Yes,
that's what we do. I've been contrary to these two gentlemen. I started slowly. Now it's starting to pick up, getting a little better. Last 3 nights have all been winners, winning nights. Last night was a winning night because of one prop, and I had a 16-1, a nice 16-1 hit on a Phoenix Sun who's never going to impress. He's never, you're never going to hear oohs and ahs from the crowd because of what he does. But what he does do, and what he did last night was fill a role for some injured Phoenix Suns and got me a 10th rebound late in the game. Torrey Craig, double plus 1,600 at DraftKings. Yeah. Good and I only played a half a unit on it, but who's good? It's still that's still a nice little 8-1 profit or 8-1 margin of victory or return on investment and plus 800 profit. So let's do it again.
That was awesome. Good call there. Fun game last night. Great slate of games last night. 3 tonight. So let's dive in to game number 1 here. We'll take a look, and that's going to involve the Brooklyn Nets. Still are in the NBA. Oh, yes, the Brooklyn Nets, by the way, taking on the Portland Trailblazers. Don't let the, that YMCA pickup league score there fool you last game against Sacramento. Well, actually, maybe not. We are looking at the final game of a 4-leg trip here. I believe 2.5 is the number. I saw 2. It continues to move away from Portland. From Brooklyn. Let's just say that. 222.5. The total creeping up here a little bit, Andy. Tell me, what do you think here in this matchup tonight? Are you keying in on anybody?
Yeah, a couple guys I think you can look at from a props perspective. I'll start with the Blazers, who I think you're only looking at overs on some of these guys. And I'll key in on Anthony Simons over 26.5 PRA. He's gone over in 7 straight games. He's averaging 24.5 points, 3.2 rebounds, and 4.4 assists in November. Brooklyn's defense has completely fallen apart the last 2 games. So just very strange. Nash and Kyrie leave, and then, they become this amazing defensive team. But then the last 2 games, 116 to Lakers, 153 to the Kings. So if you believe that the Nets defense is down, then you're looking at players like Anthony to go over 26.5. Another interesting one, Kevin Durant under 30.5 points. He only has one 30-point game in his last 7 games, and that one he only scored 31 points. He's getting close, but he's just not getting there. And I imagine the books are doing quite well, as everyone is probably thinking, oh, Durant only show there for the Nets, and yet he just keeps going under. The Trailblazers defense is actually pretty decent. They're 6th best in points allowed, and they're 12th best against power forwards. So don't go running to the window to take Kevin Durant over. Actually, he's been an under. So I'm looking at over on Simons, and I'm looking at under on Durant.
All right. Great angle there. Talk to me here, you capper, Ronald Kabang, sportsmemo.com. You either think they're going to bounce back here tonight after that ass whooping and they were embarrassed, or you want to stick a fork in them here. Which one is it in this game?
Yeah, man. Andy kind of mentioned it. Like right when you think the Nets kind of figured it all out, they dropped 2 games in a row, double digits to the Lakers, and then they the Kings put up 153 on them. This is their 7th road game in their last 8 games, and I think you mentioned earlier too, the last game of the 4-game road trip. So they had like a 1-game homestand in between these road trips. So that could have been the reason why there was a bit of travel fatigue to start off this second road trip here. I know the Lakers. The Blazers. They've kind of been sort of the surprise team here. They're on top of the West, 10-4, but they're starting to get some of that respect. Right, this is only their fourth game of the season being favored, and they're at home, and it's only by 2.5 points. So, to me, I think they're still kind of trying to get that respect from everybody in the league and also from the books. I could only look towards the Blazers here, but the other thing that I could look at is also the under here. One thing that KD mentioned in some of the interviews is just the difference between Vaughn and Nash, and how Vaughn is a lot more prepared for these games. Obviously, they got taken care of against the Kings, but I don't think that's going to happen in back-to-back games. The other thing too is the Blazers play a similar pace to the Nets, so they're going to be a little bit more comfortable here. They both play a slow pace, both in the bottom third of the league in that category. And then the Blazers, they're a top 10 defensive rated team. The Nets, outside of that Kings game, they've actually stepped it up defensively with Vaughn as their coach. So I'm going to give them a little bit of credit here and take what KD said and say that they're going to be prepared for the second game after a big blowout and look towards this under. I think it's going to be a slow-paced game, a defensive-minded game, and a lean towards the Blazers here on the short line.
Yeah, and we still don't know. I don't know if they announced it. Is Nurkic going here tonight? Because I don't know if they got it yet, Tony, but I mean, the reality is not only did they give up 20 three-pointers to Sacramento, but they also gave up 66 points in the paint. I don't know if they're going to get dominated in the paint like that tonight against this Portland squad. So what do you think here? Is it just Portland or pass or Brooklyn or pass?
Well, first, Nurkic, he was listed as questionable on Tuesday, too, when we did the show. Mm-hmm. And I kind of strayed from the game a little bit because I couldn't get any definitive, nothing in concrete, nothing set in concrete as far as his status goes. But I'm going to guess he played on Tuesday night and had, I think, 9 or 10 points and 5 rebounds in a short span. I think he only played 15, 18 minutes in that game. I don't have it in front of me, but that may be the situation tonight as well. We don't know. They haven't the staff and the front office for the Blazers have not been, or for San Antonio have not been, Portland have not been transparent with that. So, and Portland hasn't been transparent with anything. I think I love what I read this morning. I read 3 or 4 pieces from pundits about how they thought Portland was playing was better right now defensively than they were offensively. And I think if you do some weight, you go and look at their schedule and you weight some of the teams they've played, some of their opponents. I would disagree. I would say that if this team's going to win, they're going to win by scoring points, not because they were elite defensively. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but that's the way I feel about this. And in this situation, there's the Nets. I don't know if you guys heard, but and I'm sure you did. I don't know what you heard. I know what I heard, and I'll wait to smoke or the dust clears on this. But I guess Durant wants out again. He's complaining about this or that, about the team, the coaching, the front office, who's available to play, why they don't have more, et cetera, right? Give me Portland. Give me Portland at home. This Jersey team's on the tail end of this road trip, 4-game trip, and after impressing with Jacques Vaughn early on, and having other pundits write how defensive, how good they've been over the last 3 or 4 games, or since Jacques Vaughn took over the helm there, the bench boss duties, and it was all about Brooklyn's lack of offense or playing slower, et cetera, and who their opponents were. This team is like Portland, guys. If Durant and company are going to win, they're going to win because they scored 130 points. So give me the over. Give me Portland and the over. Let's play an in-game parlay. Same game parlay.
So I like that. I like that angle there. I'll give you the quote, Tony, which I thought was hilarious.
Okay, yeah.
From one Kevin Durant. Quote, look at our starting lineup. Edmund Sumner, Royce O'Neal, Joe Harris, Nick Claxton, and me. No disrespect, but what are you expecting from that group? You expect us to win because I'm out there? That was end quote, by the way, for KD. I love it. I absolutely love the honesty with it. And if that doesn't light a fire under their asses, he's basically telling you guys, no disrespect, but I'm about to disrespect you. But it's not really disrespect. It's not disrespect if it's true. Guy? It's not disrespect if it's true. I'm just saying there.
It was a self-help guy. Who is it, Joe?
I love it.
It was a self-help guy that did the tour, how to make friends and influence people.
Yes.
Because Durant needs to be on the podium for that.
Again, a lot of truth in what he's speaking. So it should be an interesting one, guys. Game number 2, though, the team that just ran over Brooklyn is the Sacramento Kings, who are playing some of their best basketball right now. They are laying 7.5 against San Antonio here, 236.5. And let's be honest, if it's defense you're looking for, this ain't the game. You ain't going to get a whole lot of defense from them, but you're probably going to get a whole lot of offense, Andy Lang. Is there a player or two you might be focusing in on prop-wise in this one?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the number 1 and number 3 or 4 teams in pace of play. So look for this thing to be like a tennis match, just boom, 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 up and down. So I'm going to actually take a couple overs here on assists. I'll start with Trey Jones, over 7.5 assists. He's really ramped up his assist totals recently. He averaged 5.3 assists in October, but he's averaging 8.4 assists in November. He's had 9 or more in 4 straight games. He's playing 30 minutes a game, high pace, high scoring game, lots of points, lots of assists. And then the other one is Domantas Sabonis, over 5.5 assists. He's gone over this total in 8 straight games. Again, a lot of points, very, very high pace. He's increased his assist average in November. He's averaging over this at 6.7. So a lot of points is going to equal a lot of assists. So look at Trey Jones and Sabonis, who are both trending over their assist props.
Dug it. Let's face it, Ronald, this it's starting to come together there. They can certainly shoot with anybody, this Sacramento team. The problem is kind of a big number to expect. What are they going to do? Run away with it? We know San Antonio can score. Kind of hard to pull away from San Antonio. So what do you think here tonight? Is it dog situation or strictly the favorite here for you?
Yeah, this one is tough. I just, right before the show, I saw Keldon Johnson was actually questionable. So I'm not too sure where he's at as far as if he's going to play or not. But one thing we know is the defensive side of the ball is not the Spurs are terrible on the defensive side of the ball. And even with or without him, I think one thing that will affect their team is probably the offensive side of the ball. And with how well the Kings are playing right now, I can kind of see them really taking advantage of that. If Keldon Johnson is actually out, I think Kings can win this by well over double digits here. They're just playing really good ball right now. It is one thing to note that they did score 150-plus points in the last game. And typically when you see a team shoot like 60% from the field, 50% from 3, you would probably think there would be a letdown a little bit. You probably want to see them come back down to earth a little bit from a shooting perspective. But the pace of play is there. One thing that I do know, though, is when I see these things happen, typically it does go under the next game. I think 237 is a high total. When I saw it was 237. I think it opened at 238. With the Keldon Johnson news, I think it even came down another half point or so on the total. But I can see a lot of points being scored, but 237 might be a little bit too high. I think if the Kings really run away with it towards the end of this game, they could just let off the gas pedal, and this game ends up maybe in the low 230s. Yeah, I just can't see a lot of offense without Keldon Johnson there. I do see what Andy was saying with Trey Jones. He's really that big facilitator. When he was not on the court the other day, I think it was against the Warriors. They had no ball movement. They had nothing going on offensively, and he's a big component to that team. So regardless, I know there's not a lot of defense on both sides of the ball here, but I think I'm seeing this Kings team let down a little bit offensively. Just from a shooting perspective. So still fast paced, but I think 237 is a little too high.
All right, looking 237 a little bit high. Tony Finn, both these teams have been very profitable against the number. It's been 4 or 5 in a row, I think, for for San Antonio, and it feels like all Sacramento Kings do is cover games. So what do you do here in this matchup tonight?
It's a good point, Joe. I mean, the Kings have covered 5 straight, right? 5 straight. I think they're 7-2 straight up, 8-1 against the number in their last 9. And more important than those metrics are that 5.5 point plus 5.5 net rating in non-garbage time, which is listen, they're going to score some points, right?
Yep.
I mean, this is an offense that puts up 118.8 per 100 possessions over the course of that same run I just mentioned. And as also mentioned, they are 4th. I think their tempo rate's about the 4th fastest in the league. So this game's supposed to be, I would say, listen, the Spurs, they've covered 4 or 5, and they've done it. They haven't done it because they're talented or they're going to be able to play with people, but typically you're going to get a big number with the Spurs, and they do just enough. They have enough offense and enough creativity among that group of players that they find a way to stay inside that number, right, and cash tickets. So that's what we're looking to do. I think that total opened at 238. I understand why it's come down. I think that's a little bit high to depend on. Look at the Spurs line. Durant feels bad about the lineup he's playing with. Put him in there with the, with Jeremy Sochan, and as I've mentioned, my best bet today will be Jacob Allen Poe and his point prop tonight. So we'll talk about that. But I would listen. I like the Kings. I like what they're doing. You can't not like it. But they still do not defend. They are lazy. So if there's some props you like or some players on this San Antonio team, then I think this is the game to look.
All right, and this is the way to look, and this one should be maybe the most entertaining game on the card. That, of course, ain't saying much because there's only 3 games, but we do have one more we're going to break down for you here tonight. Let's take a look at the Detroit Pistons, as you can hear them celebrating in the Detroit corporate offices right now. I'm sure Chris is screaming and yelling like this team sucks. They're getting 9.5. The Clippers are hanging. Interesting enough, you heard Andy tell you that. I couldn't believe it. It's actually been upgraded to questionable, that being the elusive Kawhi Leonard. Now, the funny part is now Paul George, though, in all likelihood, is probably not going in this game tonight. And they better hope Kawhi's going, because I have no idea, Andy, where the hell the points are coming from if it ain't Paul George on the court with this Clippers team. But I do believe Isaiah Stewart was just recently announced injured. He's out for at least a month or so. We know Cade Cunningham is, he's on the back of milk cartons. He's nowhere to be found for Detroit. So what do you think here? Clippers, this feels like a huge number at 9.5. The total, little manageable, 217. But which way you looking here tonight?
I think this is an awful game. So bad. I think this is just awful. We get Killian Hayes starting. They've listed Marvin Bagley at center. So, unfortunately, from a prop betting standpoint, until we get news on Kawhi and Paul George, it's really, really tough. A couple of looks you could look at. I'd look at Zubac over 10.5 rebounds, just because he's going to be the tallest and biggest guy out there by far if Bagley's going to line up at center. And then the other thing that's going on with the Clippers, take a look at Reggie Jackson. I don't think this applies for this game, but Reggie Jackson always goes over his points, rebounds, and assist total when John Wall sits. I think Wall is playing tonight, but whenever you see Wall get a game off, take a look at Reggie Jackson. And I bring Reggie Jackson up because right now the Detroit Pistons are the worst team in the league at defending point guards. They give up the most points by far, over 28 points a game. So Reggie Jackson, even if Wall plays, I would look at your Reggie Jackson and your John Wall props because they got the best matchup right now. But until we get further news on Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, I can't say to play anything definitively. If they're both out, or even if one of them plays, Zubac is probably my favorite over the rebounds, with Reggie Jackson over his points second.
All right, like it there. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Listen, let's not make fun of Bagley here, all right? The man Man,
Okay.
get him under the rim. And listen, he's not a pushover there, Ronald. So what do you do in this situation tonight? Because the Clippers, where are the points coming from here?
Yeah, I think the first thing is what are the Clippers going to do with these questionables right now? Because they're one of the teams that I hate the most as far as following the injury report news. Kawhi upgraded to questionable. Paul George downgraded to questionable. Like I don't know who's going to play. He just played 41 minutes against the Mavs here. I think the big component is Paul George though. If he plays or if he doesn't. I know last season, I think only one game this season where he was out, and last season there were a lot more games that he was out, and the defensive side of the ball is where he affected it the most. I think their defensive rating was about 8 points worse when he was not in the lineup for the game. So one thing that I do know is, this Pistons team obviously missing Cade, missing Isaiah Stewart. They do push the pace a little bit. I could see the Clippers kind of just running with these guys because they know they could probably win. Without playing any defense, kind of run up the score here. 217 does seem a little low. I know it opened at 216. I would say this one goes over, especially if George doesn't play here. Losing that defensive mindset there, maybe see Sadiq Bey maybe put up some numbers. He's someone that's been missing for this Pistons team for a while, and hopefully he kind of turns things around there. But other than that, I mean, this is something where you kind of just got to wait to see what the Clippers do. I know Andy Lang mentioned John Wall might be in, but who knows? If this is an easy game for them to kind of just load management him off, then he won't be in there. But for me, I think when you play a team like Detroit where you're not expecting to really see any defense happen, why would you want to play defense yourself, right? You just want to outscore them, kind of run up the numbers here. I think that they go over this total.
All right, Langan over the total here. Tony Finn, what do you think? It's a interesting game. I think the total got a little bit of a bump. Maybe folks thought it was a little bit too low in the marketplace. It creeped up a little bit, but what do you do here? Because the number keeps getting higher for the Clippers. We're almost at double digits here. What do you think?
I've done a lot of shows with you this week, Joe. Typically do 2 of them, but I think I've been on most every show except for Monday. I guess it's going to be the third show in a row. And we keep talking about these Clippers and how they hang their hats on their defenses, their ability to defend, right? With Paul George in the lineup, I like this total under 217, 250, wherever it's at right now. I like it under that number. With George, if his hand is a little sore, and it is a shooting hand, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong. If it's his left hand, that's a big difference. But I understand it's a shooting hand, and he's the guy that's carried him. 26-4 game, 48% from the field shooting, 37 from distance. He has connected on. This is an offense that basically 111.1 points per 100 possessions is nothing to go yell, come into the strip joint yelling, "Look how good I am." Okay, that just isn't. So without George, this team's about a 95.7 points per 100 possessions. So give me. First off, though, I still like the Clippers' ability to defend Detroit, who's damaged goods right now, without Cunningham, without Stewart in the middle in the paint, and if there's a prop in here, listen, Detroit really doesn't have. Marcus Morris is a really a good player for a guy who's over 30. He can defend, he can be physical, he can score, he can rebound when he wants to. He has one double this year. You might look at doubles, but I would look more at his PAR. PAR was only, when I looked this morning, it was 22 or 21.5, and I think he can score that much because Bogdanovich cannot hang with Morris, and it's certainly. They're certainly not going to put. They got to have somebody to cover the big for the Clippers. So it looks like Marcus Morris has a nice matchup. Give me his points, assists, and rebounds over tonight. I think it's 20.5, 22.5, somewhere in there. That's even 23.5. I would still go over.
Ooh, going up and over there. Would be nice if. What was that number one pick there? Oh, yeah, Jaden Ivey. Wouldn't that be nice if he showed up and showed out? Cunningham's not there. I don't know, maybe lead the team like a number one. Call me crazy. But that game, guys, Clippers and the Pistons here tonight. Should be an interesting one. And now it's time for Best Bets. All right, well, we only got three games here, and kind of went over them with you, but now it is time to figure out if there is a play within these games that these guys like a little bit more than the rest. So, Andy, kick us off here, my man. 60 seconds on the clock. Give us a best bet tonight with these three games.
Sure. I had to laugh when Tony brought up that Durant is unhappy. It's like, all right, Kawhi's questionable and Durant is unhappy. Like, everything is fine in the NBA universe. Everything's
you know what? The sun's
back
outside,
to normal.
too. Yeah, the sun's up.
That's exactly right. It's just rinse and repeat with these guys. It's amazing. I'll go to Joe Harris, under 15.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's played 13 games this season. He's gone over this total once. Wow. He only has 3 games with double-digit shot attempts. He's averaging 6, 3, and 2 this season. He plays about 32 minutes a night at the most. Some games he's in the low 20s. I can't imagine morale for Joe Harris is very good right now. I mean, he was one of the guys Durant just flat out named as Durant's just completely ripping the starting lineup. Portland, 5th best team defending small forwards in the league. I just can't see Joe Harris ramping up his game tonight after being torn to shreds. Take the under.
Going under here tonight. All right, I love it. Joe Harris, take a seat with your 8 points. All right there, Ronald Kabang. Talk to us here, my man. 60 seconds on the clock. Best bets can be found over at sportsmemo.com. 3 games. Tell me what's the play you're looking at?
Yeah, first I want to shout out Sports Memo in our triple-double show over there. We've been doing pretty well since the start of the season. With the free plays, and our panel is getting larger. It used to be just 2 of us. Now there's 3 of us on each show. So we're getting a lot of information out there, hopefully just winning information for everyone that views. It's probably, I think it's actually the most popular show over at Sports Memo, and I think it's because of the wins that we're giving out there. But as far, and those are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so make sure you guys hit that up 10 a.m. As far as the best bet game that I talked about earlier, the Kings and Spurs under 237, it's a bit too high. I talked about a lot of the reasons why I like the under, but this is a crazy trend I want to share here. Games where the favorites that are coming off of a 30-plus win and are facing a team with 1 day of rest, but their 3rd game in 4 nights, 25-4 to the under since 2016. Ooh. That's that tonight, so looking for the under there.
All right, boom. Going up and under the total. Love that. And Tony Finn, you got 3 to choose from, my man. I know you got a best bet in there somewhere. Tell us where you're looking.
Edgar Allan
Poe.
Jacob Allan
Poe.
Yeah.
Poe.
Spurs and Kings, guys. West Coast, late night. Popovich probably will doze a few times in this game. What do you want to bet? Is there an over-under on that? How many times he has nods off during the game? I like the alternate points tonight for Poe, and that the fact that if you look at this game when he played, when the Spurs were playing a team that really doesn't defend the post very well, he put up 31. He put up, I believe that's correct. I'm going to pull this up because I don't want to. I'm telling you that when you see Jacob Allan Poe put up 31 points, 14 to 17 from the field, 3 of 5 from the free throw line, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, 32 minutes in a 117 to 110 loss to Portland. He had 31 of their 110 points, and he looks very comfortable in the paint. 18 of his 31 in the second half of that game. And I think 11 of them, and I apologize, 11 of them came in the paint. Poe, alternate points, over 20-plus points, plus 330. Sorry, I took some.
Wow, you're on big night for Popo over there. Hey, don't hate it. That's nice plus money. That's good though. Hey, hey, listen, he hit 160 to 1 last night with with Mr. Craig there, so why not? One more time, just to recap it for you here, guys. We are looking at laughing at Joe Harris tonight. Under 15.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Andy Lang all over it. While Tony Finn, you heard him, we're going to the alternate line section of your book there. Look at that. Mr. Popo over 20 points at plus 330. And Mr. Kabang, you capper over at sportsmemo.com. Man, ain't going to happen 237. He's going up and under that with San Antonio and Sacramento. And don't forget, Andy and Tony Finn, 3, 7, and 30-day all-access packages are available on their pages over at WagerTalk.com. Same situation over at SportsMemo.com. Hop on board there with Ronald Kabang there. You capper, partner up with him. Those 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all-access packages, guys. That's the way to go. All best bets coming your way. All three of these gentlemen. Visit them today. WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. All right, that does it for us. Big card in the association tomorrow. We'll be back for the Friday edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show. We'll break down those games. Our best bets, the contrarian gods will be yelling and screaming. We'll have all sorts of ways to make it a profitable end of the week. Until then, on behalf of Andy Lang, Tony Finn, and Ronald Kabang, appreciate the time, guys. Best of luck with all the plays tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck.
How many handicapping groups can say they're around before Twitter, MySpace, AOL, Sunday morning cable infomercials, beepers, and 1-800 numbers? Founded in 1957, the Gold Sheet is the country's longest-running sports betting newsletter and has served bettors for over 6 decades. So between 1957 and now, if you have not checked out the Gold Sheet, here's your chance for only $1 per day. Head to goldsheet.com and just go to Buy Now or click the special box on the main page to get both the NBA Gold Sheet and College Basketball Gold Sheet newsletter for only $7. For just $1 per day, you will receive projected scores, spread and totals, power ratings and strength of schedule, teams straight up, against the spread, and over-under records and their season average line for both sides and total. Plus, tons more handicapper information to help you bet with confidence, and of course, tons of picks. This offer is for a limited time only, so act fast and head to goldsheet.com and try it out for 7 days for only $7. You'll be glad you did.